Hello and welcome to this PowerPoint presentation about Unit 1 as part of the English Language 5 course unit. I'm Nestor the teacher, and today we'll be discussing a bit of modality. Now we're going to open this topic by talking about probability and deduction. To me they're quite similar, so I'm going to put them in the same slide. Now if we draw a line and we had to classify them into the most probable and less probable modal verbs, the first one would be will, because it's a fact, it's quite factual. Then we got must, should, could, may, might, couldn't, and also can't. Couldn't can be used to talk about an impossible thing in present, in spite of the form it has. So there you go. As I said in the lecture, you can complement that with semi-modals as well, and you can add be likely to or likely to, be bound to, and have a more complete chart. But for technical purposes, this is what I want for the time being. Now, could, may, and might, those are the three ones that we're going to focus in the rest of the presentation, and they all express some sort of probability. This is just to give you some sort of idea of the likelihood they have, but saying that could is 50 and may 30, might 20% will be basically splitting hairs, and we're not going to do that. In terms of the form, they have two. In present, they're followed by the verb infinitive, as you probably know, and in past, they are followed by the have been form, the perfective one. In terms of pronunciation, we also mentioned that we should pay close attention to the pronunciation of have, must have, could have, may have, might have. We link sounds there. So moving on, as I said, could, may, and might, they are used to express some sort of certainty in present, past, or even future, depending on the structure. And they are probable to some extent, but when we add the word well to these words, they become very, very likely. Importantly, please remember that we use well with only those three. You can't say must well or can't well. No, it's just could, may, or might. Now, as to the communicative intention of the following sentences that we worked in class, you could have killed yourself, you might have killed yourself. We noticed that we had to read that with the correct tone in order to understand the intention, and basically it's a past possibility which did not happen. That's what it means. But within this context, it's actually criticism. You could have told me, you might have told me you were going to be an hour late. So I'm really, really upset about it. I'm showing annoyance by saying that. He may be the tallest, but I'm the smartest. We also discussed this word in class, concession. Concession basically means linkers of contrast. So basically it's although he's tall, I'm smart. That's basically it. There isn't much to do here, so we might as well go home. Notice that we got the expression as well. May and might are the only two modal verbs that take this form, and we use it most of the times when we want to show there is no better option, more sensitive thing to be done. You may not talk in class shows permission, or in this case prohibition, but it may also be used to talk about permission. You may leave. How may I help you? In this case, I'm just offering. In terms of ability, and this is something that we need to discuss in detail, there are two ways of showing ability, at least in present, and they're basically the same thing. Can is a bit more common when we speak, whereas be able to is more frequent in written English. We use can, however, to talk about arrangements. But if we want to talk about a future ability, then we are likely to use will be able to. Let's look at examples. I can go to a house tomorrow. In this case, what I'm showing is not that I will have the ability to walk to your house tomorrow, but instead that I I am in condition to see you tomorrow, according to my diary. So it's more about arrangements than anything else. Whereas the other one, I'll be able to speak Japanese fluently when I finish my undergrad studies. That's clearly showing a future ability. Can, because of its nature of a modal verb, is quite fixed in terms of its structure. It can only be followed by bare infinitive when talking about ability. Now, when we use be able to, it is way more flexible in terms of forms. It takes different aspects, and therefore, had not being able to learn faster, or I haven't been able to check my email, gives us a broader spectrum of possibilities. But in terms of meaning, they both show ability. But if we go to the past, things are quite different. Could is used to talk about a general past ability. Remember the example that I gave about that when I was a child I could run very fast. Now I can't because I'm fat and bald, but back then I could. The amount of times is not important. It could have happened many times. It's a general past ability. Was or were able to, on the other hand, is used to talk about a specific situation. It's a specific situation in the past. I was able to fix my car this morning. And when used in this particular context, we got managed to, and we've also got succeeded in as synonyms. In terms of the negative form, couldn't can be used to talk about general and specific past situations, and it doesn't matter. Whereas was or be able to, wasn't able to, weren't able to, still is used to talk about a specific situation. And could can also be used to talk about a specific situation only if used with the verbs of senses such as smell, see, or taste. That's why I told you that you can say it was a cold morning and I could smell the dust in the air or something like that. So it's a specific situation, but you can use could instead of was able to. So that's basically the summary in terms of ability. Lastly, there are other important uses that I'm pretty sure that you know, but I wanted to point it out anyway. Can I, could I use when we make request or permission. Can I leave early today? Or could you help me here, please? So there you are, permission or request. Importantly, we can also use can when we want to show some sort of criticism. When you say, for instance, you can be really annoying sometimes. That means that you've got at times the capability of being real annoying, but it depends on the sentence more than the modal verb per se. Now, can is also used to express theoretical possibility or capability. What I wanted to do now is to think of can not just as ability but also capability. And when we say the theatre can seat over 3,000 people, there's a typo there that I've just seen. I'm going to correct that later. That means that it has the capability to seat 3,000 people. And although can also express permission in present, although can expresses permission in present but in past we need to use be allowed to instead of could, because could refers only to ability but not permission. You cannot say I could leave whenever I wanted. No, I was allowed to, because otherwise we're talking about that I have the possibility of leaving whenever I want. So see the difference between them. That's the last bit of the presentation, and these are the references so that you know that I'm not just filling in with my own ideas, but they're actually based on real texts and sources. Well, thank you very much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed the presentation. Probably the lesson was way more engaging, but this basically summarizes the key points and concepts that you need to study and know. As always, if you happen to have any doubts or questions about this lecture, do not hesitate to send me an email or just come and visit me during office hours. Alright, thank you very much, and I'll see you in class.